Hey folks, it's Dr. Mike, and we're back here again to talk about our medical exercise training ebook one-on-one topics. And our next topic is topic number 8. And this one is MET or medical exercise training just simply strengthening, or is it more? Now, I know for some of you that have been in the fitness industry for a long time, you do realize that strength is a very, very important component for function for human beings. But we also have to realize that strengthening has its place, and strength should be integrated into a number of other functional components, such as proprioception and power and stability and endurance and muscle fiber recruitment, whole list of items. So if you don't mind, we're going to address this. And again, I'm going to read this and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. MET services are a little more complicated than just simply strength training. Strength training is a significant component of medical exercise training, but it's not the sole component. In many situations, your MET client may be over the age of 50 or have a medical condition. In this situation, muscular strengthening may not be enough. Additional activities, including balance training, stabilization activities, and flexibility techniques may be indicated. A good understanding of clinical anatomy and pathology of the medical conditions with skills in developing conditioning programs is essential for every medical exercise specialist and anyone out there providing exercise to clients with medical conditions. You must have an understanding of clinical anatomy as well as pathology. Now, let me pause here for a second. For the most part, there are 3 levels of anatomy. There's what we call basic gross anatomy. Basic gross anatomy is understanding the major muscles and bones and organ systems. That's what most personal trainers get in their anatomy training. It's usually the course that's offered in most community colleges as well as universities and colleges to most undergraduate students. When you get into PT or nursing school or one of the others, that's when now you get into clinical anatomy. Because entering those professional programs, it's expected that you already know basic gross anatomy. Now, clinical anatomy is taking that basic gross anatomy and now applying pathology or injuries or conditions or medical issues or disease processes to it. This is what we know as clinical pathology. And pathology is just simply the study of disease. So it becomes important that you know more than just simply basic gross anatomy. You understand how that anatomy is impacted by the pathology of the client's medical condition. Several years ago at one of our MES workshops in Toronto, I became friends with one of our participants, Muhammad McCauley. Now, Muhammad is a great guy, and if you don't mind, let me finish the story. You'll see how ironic it was I meet Muhammad. If you attend one of our MES workshops, you know I like to get to know our participants. Well, Mo and I became fast friends. We discussed complicated clients, world history, North American politics, you name it, we talked about it. And Mo is still a close friend to this day. I actually just texted him yesterday. A few days after the Toronto workshop, I was back in California and mentioned Mo's name to a friend who happened to be an avid bodybuilder. She asked me if I knew who Mo was. Of course, I said. He's one of our medical exercise specialists. He lives in Toronto. She found a magazine in her office and proceeded to show me pictures of Mr. Universe from 1983, Muhammad McCauley. I was shocked. I was like, what? Well, I had no idea. Well, my next trip to Toronto, I was having dinner with Mo and some MESs when I asked him about his Mr. Universe title. He smiled and admitted he does use strength training with his clients, but he realizes most of his clients can't tolerate the type of training he did to win the Mr. Universe title. He focuses on activities to improve their function, activate muscles, increase stability and flexibility while also enhancing their wellness. Mo's view is the best example of medical exercise training being more than just strength training. Many clients walking into your facility want to increase muscle bulk, but they don't have the connective tissue capacity to tolerate intense strength training. They just don't. Connective tissue, as we age, becomes more inflexible and lacks the resiliency we need for many high-level type activities. Though they want to bulk up and train intensely, they may develop injuries. And this is based on a concept we teach in the medical exercise specialist course, Wolff's Law. Wolff's Law simply says if you apply stress to connective tissue, it will increase in strength. If you remove stress for prolonged periods of time, connective tissue will weaken. Wolff's third law, though, says every piece of connective tissue has a physiologic limit. That's the amount of stress the tissue can absorb before it fails. Failure means rupture, tear, herniation, fracture, sprain, strain, or break. As we age, our connective tissue strength and resiliency diminishes. It's because we're losing gag molecules, and gag molecules are responsible for the retention of water in connective tissue. Water is what gives the connective tissue its flexibility, its resiliency, those types of things. Exercise will minimize the corrective tissue weakening, but it won't eliminate it. Folks, Mother Nature always wins. We can slow her process down with exercise, but eventually Mother Nature is like the house in Vegas. She always wins. Most of your work in MET is improving connective tissue. Connective tissue includes ligaments, tendons, fascia, etc. So you can see strength training is vital, but it's not the only component of medical exercise training. And many times, Muhammad Makawi and I call him Mo, have had this conversation. And for many fitness professionals, let's just make them stronger. The idea is we make them stronger, that's going to take care of everything. But folks, to get to increased and enhanced strength, you got to go through connective tissue to get there. And connective tissue is really what you're managing as a medical exercise specialist. As a personal trainer, you were doing more muscle strength training. Now we got clients with arthritic knees, disc herniations, rotator cuff problems. These are all connective tissue disorders to some degree. And now we have to be more conscious of how the exercise impacts the connective tissue and also what the connective tissue's tolerance level is. So this becomes important. So it's not just simply strength training. If you are a trainer who focuses on strength, great, but also start to learn the other aspects that go along with managing the client with a medical condition. It's not just simply strength. It's understanding connective tissue. It's understanding how to dose the exercise appropriately so that the client can tolerate the exercise. They can now have the muscle structures and connective tissue structures stimulated enough that they get stronger, but we don't damage them or take them to the point of failure. So this is where medical exercise training really becomes very specific. It really becomes very highly professional, and it really does take a professional to know how often, how long, and how much to get that client to improve their level of function. So thanks for watching. We hope you come back for our next tip. And if you have any questions for me on this one, please email me at drmike@postrehab.com. All the best.